I mentioned, I mentioned that a group of agile practitioners came together. There's Kanban, there's Scrum, there's XP. Some will say there's say, some will say there's less. But because our focus is on Scrum, I had to start with that background information so you would have a clearer context of where we're going, right? So now there's Scrum and there's Waterfall. For some people that are aware of the old PM way of doing things, right? Where if you don't finish A, you can't go to B. If you don't finish B, you can't go to C. Okay? But if you look at, so this is where you now have to ask, what is actually Scrum? You can Google online, you can see different definition, but I like the one here. I think this is got from the Scrum guide. Number one, he said, is a lightweight framework. If you're following, you realize that we've been using just clear, simple English. We've not actually used one heavy jargons that can blow your mind. But yeah, you might hear one or two, but it's lightweight. It does not follow strict, like there's no you must, you must, you must. It is lightweight. And it helps people, team and organization. As an individual, once you have an agile mindset, I used an example before, even the way you live your life, the way you want to do your things. Let's say you're in an environment, you always feel like, I don't understand. Why are we working this way? Why can't we? Why can't? If you're the type that wants to question the status quo, question in a very respectful way. Question a way of like, why can't we improve? Why can't we do it this way? If you are that like, type of person, there's nothing wrong with you. That means your mindset is more agile, right? The only challenge we might have is maybe we work in an environment or work with or in an environment that do not encourage open-mindedness or encourage where people need to give their feedback or look at improvements, or an environment where improvement is only done at the top level. Top level, maybe they're sitting in their conference room, they do meetings for hours, and that's about it. And instead of them to come to the ground floor, like people that are actually doing the work, and let them come up with improvement plan, even if they tell you, oh guys, we want to do a financial year. What are the things we need to plan? They collect, nothing's been affected. It's frustrating. But don't worry. The environment, these environments, the agile environment loves people like that. You would have that mindset that can be open-minded, right? So if you look at it, said even with teams and organization generate value because building complex problem you can want to, that is why you have iPhone 1, iPhone 10, iPhone 11, iPhone, because customer will always want more. I can always want that. uh why can't my WhatsApp carry me from London to Chicago? Then you'd be like, I don't understand. I'm only saying for an example, right? Because customer requests can be complex, but through adaptive solutions that agile or scrum, let me use the word scrum now so you won't feel too scattered, that scrum has brought, right? It allows us to break down complex problem into simpler form. Okay, so if you're a scrum master or you have like experience being a scrum or whatever, and you get into an environment, it does not come and say the good thing you're doing, because it does not follow the principle of scrum, you need to stop it, right? What it does is, it said, look, if you look at this word, it says scrum wraps around existing practices or render them unnecessary, and it is iterative. Unnecessary means the one that is not adding value. Whenever you're thinking agile in the business context, you always think value, value, value. What would the customer gain? What's the business value? What's business value? What's business value? Right? So if you're in an environment and you think, oh, what they're doing is okay, all you have to do is you just wrap around it. Find a way to put it. Maybe there's a particular meeting they do every Friday, and that meeting is probably just to discuss the work being done or to show the work being done. You can just say, okay, guys, what you're doing is related to doing your sprint review. And if you do weekly, meaning you are, so what you're doing is you're wrapping it. You're wrapping your collaborating with what is currently on ground. But if they're having There are some organizations that have been, and they'll say they're having stand up, and they'll be there for like 1 hour, right? Don't worry, the next trainer will tell you about what stand up is, so don't let me go into that. But more like, oh, let's quickly discuss the things we were able to accomplish yesterday, the things we were going to do today, and they will be there for an hour, and they're literally discussing and laughing. So they've forgotten number one thing, they've forgotten the focus factor. Or maybe you do meetings like forever, right? No value. So if you look at this diagram, right, the one on the right is waterfall. Gathering, if they are not done with requirement gathering, for example, you want to build an app, you went to gather all of the requirements to build all the app. Yeah, that's fine, you can gather, but literally can't gather everything because requirements change. A market request will always change. Look at now, a lot of people are going to TikTok because it's TikTok, right? The next design. So you have to design all of the requirements. Before you know it, let's say requirement gathering has taken 2 months. Design has taken another 2 months. Before you even start doing whatever, the customer has already left you and say, oh guy, you are too slow. I'm going to go and meet another person, right? But for Scrum, Scrum says requirements, let's take 1 spoon from all the requirements we've gathered. That 1 spoon we've taken, let's go and design it, let's develop it, and let's show it to the customer. So if you look by the design by the right, okay, oh, you want to build an MVP and it's a car. You took the first one was the tire. You took the tire and the customer is still not satisfied. But what you're doing literally is you want to be sure you are building what the customer actually wants. Sometimes customer don't know what they want. Yeah, then you can always project ideas in your mind. Project, you show them designs, you show them. That is where you say those are doing UI UX, UI UX guy. The product goes and does a sketch of how it should look like. The UI, UX guy comes up and I'm like, okay, you show the customer. So this is what we are doing. The window will look like this. And the customer will be like, I don't want blue, I want black window, right? So you're collaborating because you want at the end of the day to deliver fast value to the customer, or else um you just take time. Now notes, waterfall is not bad because if you want to build your house, you can't use Scrum or whatever, right? Because for you to roof your house, you have to finish all the block to that a level to roof the house. You can't do half house and roof halfway, half place. No. So one must complete to do the other. In fact, there is even a particular project we are working on with a third party, and the third party during presentation said we are going to be using waterfall to deliver this. I understand because the product is already available. They just needed to do requirement gathering and to be sure what they are giving us is what we asked for. Okay, so if you look at this iteration, what is missing circle is called iteration. It picks a bit of the requirements, it designs, it develops, it tests, it review. So at the end of the review, there are two options, right? Is either you release or to plan. Meaning, after taking a bit of everything, you go and discuss with the team. So, guys, we're starting with 5 items. I don't want to go deep because I know the next trainer will go deeper. So, the products manage. Let's say the product owner. So let's say right, the product owner comes to the team that is developer, Scrum Master is there, and like guys, okay, we want to build this app, but we want to start with 5 things, right? The product owner didn't say we want to build this app. Yeah, let's start. When should we do it? Everybody's just working. Oh, we want to start with 5 things. At least the user should be able to sign up and log in and see the dashboard. Okay, let's start with that. There's a design, they develop it. So at the end of let's say a week or 2 weeks, then it's either they release it or plan when to release it. So what this means at the end of 2 weeks, you've been able to say, oh, we've been able to complete this particular task of the app, sign up, log in, and show dashboard, right? Then the product owner will say, oh, fine, good, well done, guys. So next sprint, okay, I've said sprint, but yeah, that's sprint. I don't want to say words I haven't I'm not going to explain because I want to give the next trainer to talk more on the Scrum event. Then you come the next 2 weeks, you pick another one. So you're delivering value in bits. And the customer will be like, okay, good, good, good. Because customer can look at it and give you fast feedback. Maybe the color you use or the color customer wanted before was brown. And the customer later says, oh, sorry, I don't want brown again for my dashboard. Can we use blue? Remember we mentioned that requirements can change. Okay, no problem. We'll take note of it and put it in the next plan, right? So any question at this point? This that is why they say Scrum is lightweight. As I said it, you just went like just like that, like just like that. But by the time you start implementing it, you now realize that there's some roadblocks, yeah, mindset issues. That is why they call it agile. To be flexible, you need to be fluid, you need to be, and that is why you need a Scrum Master because of all these bits. But explaining how it works is so lightweight. And if everybody should do their bits, it won't be a problem. My friend will say if everyone does their parts, then Scrum Master shouldn't have much of a problem. Okay, I need to move. All right, guys. The next one we have the Scrum values, right? We had the Agile values. Now we have the Scrum values and the Scrum principle. It does not matter if you're a Scrum Master, you're a product manager, you're a product owner, you want to be in tech, you want to do this. Courage is very important because developers, they don't, I think personally, if you ask me, I would say it's an African thing, or maybe it's an human thing, but I like to say it's an African thing. Africans don't really like to speak up. Sorry, I'm African too. When we say, "Do you have any question?" Sometimes Africans prefer to be called out. It's a study, right? I didn't say it. If you Google of study studied culture all around the world. Africans prefer to be called out and say, "Oh, Oludare, can you pick?" Even though Oludare feels he wants to say something, but for some reason he feels, let me just steal it back. I really use Oludare as an example based on African context, right? But when you're in an agile world, it's just like one of my mentor, Olufunsho is there. Say your mind, tell them, let them know what's happening, let them know what that means is as a scrum master, if you're not courageous, even as a product person, you want to be a product manager, if you're not courageous you won't know how to do stakeholder management. They'll just push everything to you and you'll just do whatever. And if you don't know how to help the product owner to say no, which is one of the core functions of a scrum master, there will be a challenge. That is why courage is key, right? You teach courage, you coach the team on courage. Then when you look at focus, right? Focus is also important because Scrum values, um, people are too conscious about time management that they forget focus management. Time management is supposed to help focus, right? So if you're Scrum, a Scrum Master, products, whatever, like I said, it's all about mindset. Even if you're a student and you're in school, how would you focus if you can't deal with distractions, right? So how can you help them focus on the work so that they can deliver value? Even those that are going to do Scrum interview, right? These are the things they literally ask. The only difference is they want you to use some level of case study to explain all of this. And commitment, you need to let them commit to what they need to achieve. They will be challenged, there will be drama, there will be developers that will tell you they are tired. Some will say they are having a headache. Some will be like, I need to go to the hospital. But you can literally, as a scrum master, I want to say, but you're lying. But because you need to be empathetic, empathy is, first of all, you have to have your way, okay? You understand, but before they'll tell you, okay, no problem, I'll see what I can do, maybe work extra hours and all of that. Respect is key. For those that understand lean, right, House of Lean, one of the pillars is respect for people and culture. So this cut across as a general aspect. Even if you're joining a team or an organization for the first time and you have a bunch of ideas, you're super creative and innovative and you want to tell them stuff and things to do, you need to respect, right? Respect the culture. Respect that changes can happen just immediately. Respect that your boss might be old school and might not just get what you mean or the angle you're coming from. So you have to teach respect, and Scrum talks about that, right? Respect for each other, respect for each other's capability. The next, openness, right? You can join a team. The next journal will talk about team development, because when you join a team for the first time, that is where you see some people will feel like, is it this one that I'll not be giving you orders? Oh, is it this one I'm going to listen to? It can be chaotic, right? But openness sort of helps it, because when there's openness, you can be trust. And trust is one way to deal with dysfunctional team. Trust is key. Okay. Um, so you can read up on Scrum values. I just had to, put it out. And like I said, Scrum Agile is all about mindsets. If you don't have that mindset, it might be super challenging to work in that environment. That's why some people might be categorized as old school. So for Scrum principles, I'll quickly go through this. And like I said, it does not matter if you're going to do Scrum exam, they will ask you. If you're going to do interview, they will ask you similar things. So people tend to forget or ignore these aspects of whatever of Agile and Scrum, right? So empirical process control, this looks at three aspects. I'll discuss in the next slide, right? So empiricism also is an English word. It's, the definition is, look at it this way. Number one, you can get knowledge from experience. People that are experienced and they are not gaining knowledge is because they are either maybe the ego, or they're just ignoring, or they don't want to do anything. So if you have your boss, anybody, anywhere, and they have experience, they know what the problem is, right? They can just, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. But you, as with an agile mindset, you should be able to get knowledge from every experience. And number two, decisions are made based on what is observed. You can't make a decision on what happened yesterday. It has to be what is currently happening in the current world. Meaning, if you are in an environment where you believe you don't need to work from home, you need to work. Then you'll be like, guys, now just like COVID, you say, this COVID will soon go in 1 month. Before you know it, 2 months. Before you know the last month. Before you know they have to sack people and all of that. But let's make decision based on what is observed. It allows us to respond to change rather than following the plan. Then self-organization, even as an individual, in a group, that self is referring to a team, right? So when you're with a team, learn how to self-organize. Because literally, as a scrum master, or if you're going to be a scrum master, if you're not careful, they might even tell you to go and all of their meetings, they can tell you to be scheduling for them. Even a meeting that they can do within themselves, and scrum master should go and do it now. Then if you're doing that, if you're a scrum master, you're doing that, or you're going to be one, you need to note this now. You're not like a scrum police. You can literally just show them. I don't want to say nobody knows how to schedule meetings, but you can show them, right? Because how can they self-organize if at every point in time you're doing everything for them, right? So it is a principle for you to coach or teach or guide your team on that. Collaboration, that one is easy. Collaborate. Value-based prioritization. This helps to solve the issue of everything people are doing. It needs to be valuable. Product needs to come with something that has value. If you want to be a product owner, product manager, and they tell you, oh, go and do survey and this, and you're coming with things that won't even have value. You're coming with um, should haves. There's something called Moscow, right? Should haves, maybe things that will not even have value, not must have features that will bring money. They'll probably tell you that, I think we'll have to rethink your appointment though. So value-based prioritization. Even as a scrum master, when the product owner brings prioritized items, the scrum master should be able to ask the product owner or PM that this prioritizes, what are the reasons behind it, what are the numbers, what is the business value, right? You should be able to question the product owner if it's not going to add value. At the end of the day, your developers are going to start work and they just cancel and say, sorry guys, and that is just a waste of time. So time boxing, one of these principles, helps to solve unnecessary long meetings, right? That is why there is the lead one that happens in 15 minutes, one that depending on the type of sprint you choose and how you want to do it, right? So time boxing helps the Scrum team or helps Scrum Master. Let me stick to Scrum team to manage their time, right? Yeah, sometimes things might want to, time might overspan, but what happens right there as a Scrum Master, you need to figure out why, then look for improvements. How can we improve and not let that happen again? But in real life, it can be dramatic, right? But yeah, we'll figure it out just to ensure you're courageous to say or to tell or figure out how, because it might be your boss that is even delaying them and you don't even want to call your boss out. But with time, when you study your boss or how to go about it, but courage is very key, or else you might not even understand what being a Scrum Master. Iterative development, that's Scrum for you. It must be iterative. Okay. Um, I'm moving fast. Okay, so the pillars of Scrum, I mentioned that during the with this empirical process control, it has the transparency, inspection, adaptation, which is more explained here. Okay, and the idea is, if as a Scrum Master, as a person, a product, you don't understand the principle behind it, I don't know, you've I don't want to say you've lost it, or maybe you're behind, or you need to catch up. Okay, whatever work you're doing, and there's no transparency, even as an individual, that is literally more like a waste of time. You want your team to deliver, you yourself, you want to deliver as a person, you're not transparent. The good thing is Scrum has come up with then tools for transparency, tools to catch up on stuff and how to understand all of that. But as a Scrum Master, if you want to be a Scrum Master, at every point in time, you have to. A good example is whenever I join a team, I always like to create groups for the project team. And I always advise that don't go and speak with one person, but yeah, you can do that. But eventually, what you realize is maybe during stand up, someone will come that I have an impediment or I have a reason not to do my work, and I've told, let's say, Gabriel, and Gabriel says, but I told you. But now there isn't transparency because you don't even have a view into what our conversation is about. So I'm citing a very just good, a simple example. But when the conversation happens where everybody can see it, maybe the challenge you have can be solved by um, by the other third person or an advice on how to solve it. So as a Scrum Master, with the tools available for you, find a way to bring everyone to a common point. And that's why transparency. If there's no transparency, there'll be a problem, big one, because by the time business come. Then inspection, if you look at this word, right? It said inspection enables adaptation. If you're transparent, we can inspect, we can figure out where the problem is and know how to adapt it. Or maybe you're a product person, you've developed a product, it got live. Imagine you have WhatsApp and you have to send WhatsApp message to Kunle, and the WhatsApp message, each time you send it to Kunle, is going to Toby. And the developer has already seen it and raised it, but for some reason, the product owner just want the product to go out. Whether we'll figure it out, right? Now, adaptation become a problem. Then you have a lot of defects, a lot of problem. Product person, you're on fire, everybody's running that skater, right? So as a product person, you should be able to have transparency in the work they are building, product they're building for you. So yeah, you can expect. That is my reference review. Gabriel will speak more on that. Then you can adapt. Adaptation is key. So adaptation becomes more difficult when people involved are not empowered. You want change to happen and you're not empowering your team. In any organization, that's how it is, even not just in tech, right? But when a lot of people are going into tech, that is why we use tech a lot as an example. So you can read up on this, the pillars of Scrum. For those that want to become a Scrum Master, you can be asked a big question. Uh, Even me, people say ask me that anyways. So Scrum Actifier, please, if you have any question at any point. So this might be a bit new for some people, and this might not be new to some at all, and some might want to relate it. And that is why I have to let the product, those are interested in product training, to also be aware, because you might be called up for a job to be a product owner, and the product owner is a member of the Scrum team. I'll get there, right? So if you don't understand the flow, it might be a bit confusing. As simple as trying to As simple as trying to write a user story. Now that's another aspect, but we'll get there as we dive into this training, not this particular one. So Scrum artifacts, right? So if you look at it, it says this Scrum artifacts represent work or value. They are designed to maximize transparency of key information. So there are three Scrum artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, and product increment. For some of us, we might not get the design of how it looks like or what it's supposed to do, but yeah, literally, it looks as these are features. Like now, let's imagine a banking app. Feature like you want to be able to sign in, feature like you want to be able to send money. They are brought into the product backlog. Product backlog sort of have a list of all the items to build a particular product. That's for the product backlog, right? Then the sprint is what the developers are going to do. They pick out of this product backlog into the sprint backlog. And the ones that they are done with that can actually be shipped and say, oh yes, we are good to go, then that's an increment for just an English word, product increment. So if you're anywhere and they ask you, you are doing an interview, you want to write exam, what are Scrum artifacts? Just say the product backlog, sprint backlog, product increment. Product backlog give the product goal, sprint backlog goal, and product increments right here. Okay, so have that in mind for any move. And also a product person will also know this. So even if you're a product manager, a product owner, you go for an interview and they ask you, have you what do you do with the product backlog? And you're saying product backlog. Um okay, so that's what it is. Or they tell you what should you do as a product owner or product manager during a particular event. Okay, that is why they say even a product person currently with the Scrum framework, because it's the most widely used, they expect that you know these things. So who is a Scrum Master? Since we are really focusing on Scrum, right? So who is a Scrum Master? Right. Scrum Master can be a lot of things. Number one, they say if you look at it here, I think I'll just take. Okay, we'll go around. For those that know, this is a Scrum Master is a servant leader. But jokingly, I always tell people, I'm a servant leader, but I'm not a slave. Oh. Jokingly, right? But that's actually true. Because you're a servant leader does not mean you're a slave for the team. Some people even make that Scrum Master to bring them tea, or even have to bribe them to do their work. But yeah, you can do faji for your team, but not in it, not bribing. So if you look at this, it's a process facilitator. You must be a good facilitator, right? I'm advised to read up on that because organizing meetings can be a lot, and there might be a lot of distraction, and there might be conflict on a call. A is explaining to B, B is dragging B, C is coming in to say his own, and everybody's like, la, 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 la. And as a Scrum Master, or maybe a team that does not even have a Scrum Master, because now some people say they want a product manager slash a Scrum Master, right? Then at that point, what would you do? You don't want to literally yell and say, everybody shut up. Or what would you do at that point? What would you say, right? So the first thing is, that means you need to know how to resolve conflict. You must have that skill as a conflict resolution skill. You must have that. So focus on where the problem is. Listen. From listening, you know where the problem is. Draw the problem out. You know the solution, but don't give it to them. Ask them for the solution and align everybody, right? Conflict resolution skill is another training conversation on its own, right? A lot of people need, not just for Scrum, even in products, even in stakeholder management, even in your house. So help build self-organizing team. I mentioned self-organizing earlier. Teams should be able to organize themselves to deliver value. A good example is I joined a new team of recent, and let's say I come into the group, I say, oh, I have a challenge, and this is this. Literally, I know who's supposed to help me resolve it, but I won't call that person. I won't mention, I won't do anything, I just drop it. Then they'll wait till the next day and give report and say, I have a plan I've mentioned in the group, so I'm waiting for. In your mind, well, then I just join, I'll still observing. Then in your mind, you'll be like, okay, you dropped it, no follow up, nothing. You didn't feel like, oh, you've done your part. Now that means that's a team lacking. That's a mindset thing. You don't even You don't have to. It's a mindset thing. So if you're not a coach, if you don't know how to teach as a scrum master, you can't literally do that. Even a product manager that's a scrum master that has many things to do, it will literally just go and report and say, guys, sort it before you know there's chaos. So being a scrum master, um, I used to say I love chaos. I don't love chaos anymore. Maybe it's a bad prayer point, but it can be chaotic. Remove impediments. Impediments are like blocker, right? And you know when to escalate. Something happened of recent. Head of DevOps. DevOps were okay. For those that don't know what DevOps is, like developer operations, right? You can check that out. Um, Having issues and they're not giving necessary support, and the head of DevOps is aware and it's has already taken 3 days. Imagine that's 3 days has been chopped out. Next thing is I had to escalate. So I had to escalate to the CTO, right? Before you know it was resolved. And also you need to train your team or coach them what it means to escalate. It does not mean you're reporting. It means that maybe it's beyond your control. Maybe you need an extra hand. Maybe you're even overwhelmed and you feel you can manage it because Africans sometimes we like to carry a lot of problem on our head. God help us. So help the team to inspect and adapt, right? I mentioned inspect, suggestion, and adaptation earlier on. With transparency, these two cannot work. Empower the team through servant leadership. Servant leadership, like I said, is not slavery. You're a leader. The scrum master can't even. Sometimes they're a leader that can't even be a scrum master. I don't see how that would work. But then again, meaning you can lead yourself. That's what I mean. You can lead yourself, and you should be able to lead others. Protect the team from disturbances. That's focus. Another thing, you're like I mentioned, a scrum master, product owner, development team, organization. You're literally everywhere. Yeah. You're talking to this person, you're talking to that person, you're helping, you're literally aligning. Because if one part, move into another direction, it might cause chaos all the way, right? So you listen, you observe. The one you can quickly advise, you advise. Then you can now find a way to agree on improvement plan and the way to go about it. Um, yeah, so let's go to the 8 stances of a Scrum Master, which is hi Sam. Is this Sammy or Sammy? Please, so Sammy, do you have a question? You can just drop it in the chat, right? Because you have your hand up. Stop working with time. So the 8 stances of a Scrum Master. The good thing is, fortunately, I just joined an Agile. What's that? Is it Agile Book Club? Yeah, Agile Book Club. One of us, I don't know if he's still on a call, but he has a meeting by 5. But yeah, super interesting. I was able to get this image from it. Though I'm aware, but I love the way they gather everything here and it makes sense. I thought I'd share with you, right? So we talk about servant leadership. Being a coach, sometimes you just have to go for a special training to be a coach. You can't just be a coach. You can't just coach. There are ways to coach. Because for me, I started as a coach. I started as a life coach. That was years ago. Then I had to even start and be a mental health coach. And now doing this Scrum Master coaching, organization coaching thing, it sort of helped, right? Because if you want to coach your team, there are ways to it. There are type of, because with the power of questions, you know where it's going, or else you might be frustrated, even in fact, aggression, you'll be angry, and be like, I can't do this again, I can't do this anymore. I mentioned facilitator. Also, you can be a teacher. You know when to teach. You can be a mentor. You can be a manager, right? So this manager they are saying is not like you're a micromanager. You're managing the health of your team. You're checking. You're trying to manage their focus. You're trying to help them. But then again, you realize that who is helping you to manage your own. So to be a scrum master is not a joke. Impediments remover, that's even another thing. Once there's a problem, until it is closed, scrum master, you can't sleep, but your mind needs to be there. But the idea is you need to ensure that someone is working on it, and whoever is working on removing impediments is giving feedback. They don't know this, not everybody does, but you have to teach them, you have to show them how it is done. So as a scrum master, you need to be able to lead by example. That is why sometimes I feel you have to be a bit of a scrum police, yeah, to show them the beats, because at one point you have to ask any of these you are policing, but later you need to let them know that it is not your job to police them. To do that, you have the need the impediment removed. You need to be able to ask that question. Okay, so this honestly sort of summarizes all about who a Scrum Master is. You can read more, but it sounds simple, but it is a lot because you are dealing with people, and we have different type of people, right? Yeah, it's people. Scrum team. This is Scrum Master. I don't know why I use this image of this lady with funny hair, but let's just ignore that. So we have the Scrum team. It comprises of product owner. I was mentioning product owner. So you that want to go into products and you literally, for some reason, just find yourself in how will I put it now, as a product owner. Because I once worked with a team, the girl she just transitioned into tech as a product owner, and the user stories were not user stories. They were like command and control, right, type of stories. But eventually, through coaching, through putting through. Fortunately for me, I've also done products before, so that made it easier. And also with the Scrum development team, you're helping them. You are, there's a flow. This thing is like a flow. Everyone is helping each other. By the time they start, they start to self-organize. In fact, your life as a Scrum Master becomes better. I've been at a team where I literally the only time I get to come in is when that impediment is beyond their control. I do on purpose. I will not join the daily stand up on time on purpose. I wanted to see what they would do because I've told them that, guys, this meeting is literally for you. So what if I don't join it? What are you going to do? But it was not done at the first time. But later on, they just self-organize. They take their feedback, and that is it. If they have impediments, you see the charts go, 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 go. At the end, of say thank you, well done, everybody, and all of that. And so, meaning as a Scrum Master, you feel, let me say, proud that okay, yes, you've done a good job. But team changes; they don't last forever. Then you have to do the old team development all over again. Okay, I apologize that I was moving fast, right? But because I realized they are relatable and we can always communicate after this training. So time for questions, questions, questions. Can I confirm that you guys can still hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, I can still hear you.
Okay,
Can hear
question. Do you
you,
have any
please. I have
questions?
I have a question.
All right, please, you have the floor.
Oh, okay. All right. So I saw difference between Scrum and Waterfall earlier. So and what seemed to be common is breaking project management into traditional and agile. So
Uh, so, yeah,
so
what's the
traditional
question?
being waterfall,
Okay, I'm still talking.
and then we have agile with different methodology.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to understand why we have just Scrum versus waterfall here.
Okay, you want to know the difference?
No, I'm just thinking, is it not supposed to be? I don't know. Since Scrum is a methodology under Agile.
Okay. See from my end. Uh, can anyone? I'm trying to understand the question. Are you asking for the difference? Okay, I can't hear him anymore. But if you're asking what the difference is all about, like I mentioned earlier, in simple terms, instead of you trying to do everything all at once, yeah, you're trying to do this part, do that part, do this one, and do the one. But Scrum allows you to pick a bit of everything and start. A good example is I say, let's say you want to build an app. So you're taking all the requirements of all the app from start to finish, from login to sign up to sending this to doing that and doing the design. or you can just pick beats and go to completion, right? Okay. Um. Okay. I'll have some messages here. So in most cases, when recruiters reach out to you, you tend to use your expected salary to decide. Okay, please, can you share an average take home for a Scrum Master or project manager role in FinTech requesting for a 6 years experience? Well, I think it's dependent on the organization, really, on how much you're going to pay. But just know your worth. If you have that long years of experience, and just build them, because your job is, because once they hire you, you're going to do a lot, like you already know if you have 6 years of experience. So, and what's the difference between the role of the Scrum Master and the team lead? Okay, the thing is, when you're in a Scrum team, there are no hierarchy. There are not supposed to be any hierarchy, right? If you're the Scrum Master, developer, you are all the same. But however, because let's say for example, someone that is an organization that is practicing safe, and because there are levels to it, they will tell you that um, on the level with the developers, you can be the Scrum Master. On the next level, you can be the RT. There's something called RT, Release Train Engineer, SE, Solution Train Engineer. But it does not say they are team lead. It just sort of make it look like at that particular level, maybe the program or portfolio level, they are carrying out a specific function. But however, you know how it is now. If you are high up on the ladder, it means you are higher and more experienced. So they can literally want to refer them as a team lead. But it shouldn't reflect that as some hierarchy thing. It shouldn't focus on hierarchy. It should just focus on being a team that is self-organizing. Okay, it says Scrum. Okay, network issues. Scrum Master can be HR. Okay, yeah, there's Scrum. It's Scrum for HR, Agile for HR. They are bringing all of that in. But Scrum sort of focuses on software development. But however, some of the things can be adopted and implemented. Okay, 503 guys. Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Okay, if there are no other questions, we are working with time. I'll say thank you guys so much for your time, and the next one is also interesting. I'm going to look at
Yeah.
the next
Hello,
feedback.
hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, good afternoon, good
Hello,
afternoon, good afternoon. Yes, hello,
please,
good
can you hear
afternoon.
me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Okay, Somi Rufus, I think you're having network issues. So the next class is happening now, and this one will go deeper
Yeah, good afternoon.
into Scrum
Yes.
events.
Please, just yeah, I want to really ask about what's really the difference between.
Okay, Somi, you might have to drop your question in the chat, okay? I think you're having some serious network issues. So I will allow Gabriel now. He is going to be talking more on the Scrum events and team development, which sort of is the art of, yeah, out of everything. Okay, thank you guys so much for your time. And yeah, Gabriel, over to you.
All right. Thank